And like I said, Disney's so good. Like, oh, that week last year wasn't busy. We'll schedule a dance competition that week.
Yep.
And then there you go. Now it's busy again.
Oh,
you know?
gosh.
You got to kind of just be okay with crowds if you're going to go to Disney World.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Eckstein, voice of Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars, and you are listening to the Magic Our Way podcast, and may the Force be with you.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way podcast.
They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sana, everyone. You're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana. And on this show, we invite you to feel the libations.
Feel it, feel it.
We are artistic buffs and not artistic cream puffs. This is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us. For this episode, we present Ask a Travel Agent. Your travel planning questions are answered on the show. And look, this is your typical polish, practice, pixie dust, and Disney podcast. No, sir, we are not in the Magic Kingdom of Walt Disney World every day, letting you know that Chris Evans was worthy enough to lift the sword from the stone over there behind Cinderella Castle.
That's right, Kev. We're just here to drink, talk some Disney, and listen to a TA, answer some FAQs ASAP.
Woo! And yes, Chris, well, he is worthy because he's been 3 different superheroes. But listen, that's how we do it.
He could lift Mjolnir? How you say that again?
Mjolnir.
There you go.
Yeah,
you can do that.
know. I mean, and he was all kind of stuff. So yeah, but the only way you would know that is because you guys who are listening, you guys have the easy part. All you have to do is to listen up to what we think up while we drink up.
My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
I'm Eli.
And I'm Rachel.
And look, the easiest way to support us is to book a vacation with Rachel, and a little piece comes back to us. Also, please leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts and or wherever you access our show. And make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode of the Magic Our Way podcast. And we want to thank our Patreon supporters for all that they do for us.
Before we get into it, I just wanted to take a minute and send some love to people in California who are dealing with the wildfires that are going on out west.
Definitely, yeah.
My sister lives in the Brentwood, Crestwood neighborhood, and so she's been evacuated all week.
Oh, man.
That's been a lot for her family, but there's a lot of families around her that are in the same position. Hundreds of thousands of people now are not able to go home in that area. And that's been really challenging. My sister's mother-in-law, they lost her house this week. She lives in the Palisades. And so I just wanted to shout out, not just my family, but everybody out in that area in the greater Los Angeles area that's dealing with all that stress and just like the air quality and just all of it is terrible. So we're just sending our thoughts out to all of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely thinking about you guys. So look, man, enough of our jibber jabber. Let's go answer your travel questions. Welcome to the Hub, the big topic segment of our show. And for this Hub, we present Ask a Travel Agent, where you get a chance to ask a travel agent any questions you may have when planning a vacation. Of course, January is about the time of year when people are starting to plan their maybe spring break for New Orleans, maybe the Mardi Gras vacations, but definitely their summer vacations for sure, because it's early enough and you can make some decisions here. So we figured it'd be a good idea to pose some of these typical questions that Rachel would get, and then she would give us the appropriate answers for that.
Yeah, at first I thought to myself, man, that's really cool. Rachel's going to give some free advice. And then I remembered, oh, wait, all of Rachel's advice is free when you book
It's
with
true.
her.
Yes.
That's so true.
You just got to ask.
Yeah.
Just got to ask. So I'm excited to hear some of these things, and hopefully this episode will give you some ideas on when you're planning your vacations. So, Rachel, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can take us through this adventure.
Yeah. So January is always the busiest time of year for us as travel agents, mostly because people start thinking about what does this year look like for me? And it's especially true when it's cold like this and when, parts of the country have been getting snow because people are looking out their window and they don't love the weather and they don't love their situation. And so they're like, when can I be happier? Let's plan something.
That's funny. It's funny you say that because yesterday I was like, it's been like cloudy for like days here because of whatever weather. And I'm just like, damn, I want the sun.
Yeah.
I miss the sun.
I like the cold. It's the dreary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I hear you. So I thought like, okay, well, let's have a show where people can ask us questions or ask me questions for some travel advice, and we can talk about the types of trips that people are planning this year. I thought I'd start off with some FAQs. Like, I just brainstormed, like, here are some questions I get a lot from people, and I thought we might start with those.
All right.
So, yeah. So one of the first questions I came up with, because I get this question in my email all the time, is I'm going to Walt Disney World once in my lifetime. They always say, I'm going to take my kids once. Now, we know as fans that sometimes you think it's going to be that once in a lifetime trip, and it doesn't become that. It becomes a lot more. But there are some people that Disney theme parks is just not their thing, and they want to just go with their families one time and have it be the best. And they want to do everything. I'm putting that in air quotes for the listeners, because what is the best? What is doing everything? It's going to depend on the person. It's going to be specific to you. But the question I get all the time from those once in a lifetimers is, when is the best time of year to go to Walt Disney World? Which is a really tough question to answer because it depends on your priorities and what you're looking for. So here are some things I normally say in the response to that client who's reaching out, usually for the first time. And it's usually somebody who I've not spoken to before. I don't know anything about them. And they say, hey, we want to plan a trip. We're only going once. We're taking the kids. When's the best time of year to go? And so my follow-up questions are, when you say the best, do you mean the cheapest? Because sometimes that's what people mean.
Yeah.
So the cheapest time of year to go is September.
I was about to say September. Yeah.
Yeah, September. So if you want to go in like sometimes week 1, if you're going to go middle of the week after Labor Day clears out, September week 2, September week 3, these are really inexpensive times to go. Once you get towards September week 4, you're starting to get close to fall breaks. So then it becomes a little bit more expensive. But yeah, those 3 weeks in September are going to be the least expensive time to go to Walt Disney World, typically in a year. Another time that is typically relatively inexpensive is like right now. So in between the marathon crowds and in between the Martin Luther King holiday crowds. That's another kind of like sandwichy, more inexpensive time to go. And then the last one I often recommend to people is like the last week of April, very beginning of May. Sometimes those are a little bit more inexpensive too, because there's not a lot of school breaks at that point in the year. So those are kind of like 3 times that are going to be usually the least expensive, but September by far is the answer to that question.
And so in September, you still got a little bit of food and wine, and
Yep.
Has the Halloween party started by those weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I think August now.
Oh yeah, really.
Yeah.
The question is there a difference between when is the least expensive time to go and when is the least crowded time to go? Because generally the prices are cheaper when less people are going. Because I know when I say when's the best time to go, I mean the least crowded.
Yeah. So there is like a little bit of a difference with that. So usually those things go hand in hand. You're right. And so I think typically if you're kind of getting both, but I would say the one exception to that is there are some weeks in the summer where there might actually be more people there, but Disney is staffing the park as if there were bigger crowds than there are. And so you're going to have more capacity on rides. Like the weeks that I just mentioned, Disney knows those are going to be slow. And so you might have a lower ride capacity because they are expecting a slower time. But in the summer, sometimes you can catch like a few magic weeks where Disney is still staffed for like summer crowds, but the summer crowds aren't really there. So that's like end of August is another great time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so, but then what I say to people is the drawback to those times is that it's going to be incredibly hot. Not so much January and April, but August, September, incredibly hot. The weather's going to be pretty unpleasant.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
Most people would say that's unpleasant weather. And so that's my next question is, for some people, the best time of year is the best weather. And to me, I think the best weather at Disney World is typically like end of February through March, maybe the beginning of April, and then like November, December before it gets cold. Those are usually like my 2 recommendations if best time of year means the best weather.
That sounds about right. Yeah, because
Yeah, I
around
agree.
November you get like the end of you get close to the end of hurricane season, which is usually not as active.
That
Yeah.
is true.
Usually, you know.
Yeah, usually.
So that
depends,
helps.
but-
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I tell people when they're asking about best weather. Like you said, a lot of people want to go the least crowded time of year. Usually that corresponds with the lowest prices too, but not always. The problem is that Disney has gotten really good at figuring out crowds, right? And it makes sense that they would. It's like what they do, right? But they have gotten good at saying like, okay, if these are less crowded times of year, we're not going to staff at the same level. And so even though it might be less crowded, you might still have pretty long wait times because they've managed that expense.
Yeah, now that you say that, it makes sense. And not only that, the parks close earlier.
Mhm.
That
is
sucks.
true.
So there's less
Yeah,
hours.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so less time to do what you want to do. I mean, that's why I always like going to Disneyland. It just every night, midnight.
Yeah. More
Yeah,
for
if
your
you want
buck.
those long hours, going during school breaks is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Christmas time, they're going to have really long hours.
Especially if you need a breather from running around with your family, you want to rest your feet. At least
Yeah.
I would, and then
Yeah.
come back.
You
so
can run to your
that
hotel
helps.
pretty easily out there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So yeah, so those are sort of my answers to the best time of year to go. But then the other answer is pretty simple, is like whenever it's best for you and your work schedule, like if you're taking off time for work to accommodate or school to accommodate, which is quote unquote the best time of year to go, and you're stressed because you're not doing whatever it is that you would normally be doing at home, that's not going to be a great time to go either. So sometimes the best time to go is the time that you have available, and you kind of have to just roll with however it is during that time frame.
Out of curiosity, is there like a Venn diagram of sorts to where these things kind of overlap? Not taking out the work schedule thing because that's variable depending on the person.
Right.
But like, let's say like the best weather and like the least crowded.
Yeah. So I have to travel during school breaks personally because of my day job. But we have in New Hampshire a school vacation the last week of April. It actually goes into May. It's like April 25th through like May 2nd or 3rd usually. And so I've gone down during that week a few times. And I've always been struck at like the price was pretty reasonable. The weather's really nice and the crowds are pretty manageable. I mean, it's busy, but it's always busy at Disney. There's not going to be a time you're going to go and feel like it isn't busy. But I think that week has been pretty successful for us in terms of our schedule. We also really love end of August. The weather is awful. I mean, really, truly terrible. But I really do feel like the crowds have always been so low, in my opinion, during end of August that like I can kind of put up with the hot weather because I'm not like right on top of other people all day. It's pretty open.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So those are two of my favorite times to go. But like for other people, sometimes the best is they want the holiday stuff. If you want the holiday stuff,
Yeah.
you have to go during the holidays.
Very
And so
true.
that's going to be crowded too. Or if you want Halloween, you're kind of limited to that. So it kind of depends.
I always hear like the week or two before Christmas and after the 1st of December is not bad.
And I have heard that too, kind of anecdotally. I've also like passed along that idea to people before, and they've come back and been like, "That was terrible."
Oh, no.
Or just like crying. But like they still had a good time, but they were like, "Oh, it was so busy." So I don't know. I always hesitate now to tell people like, "Oh, this time of year isn't as busy," because you just never know. And like I said, Disney's so good at like, "Oh, that week last year wasn't busy. We'll schedule a dance competition that week."
Yep.
And then there you go. Now it's busy again.
Oh,
you know?
gosh.
You got to kind of just be okay with crowds if you're going to go to Disney World.
No, that is true. They completely killed slow time. There used to be a slow time, and
Mhm.
it's gone.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, yeah.
There's always some tournament, some marathon, some something. I may be jumping the gun here, but do people come to you and say, how many days do I need in order to see everything? Is that a frequent?
They
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, that is a frequent question. So I get that a lot. I usually tell people it depends on your budget. And so my like minimum recommendation, if you can afford it, especially if you're talking about only going once ever, like the once in a lifetime trip, the minimum would be 4 days in the parks and then a travel day on each end, right? It's 1 park per day.
Okay.
That's sort of my, like, if you're going once in a lifetime, this is the only time you're going to go, I would recommend 1 day for each park, 4 park days. If you have a little bit more time and resources, I would recommend 5 days, but to take a break day in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So you keep the ticket the same, but you take a break day. And then if you have sort of the next step up budget, I would recommend 5 park days and a break day. And I would do Magic Kingdom for 2 of those 5 park days.
That's what you need the time for.
Mhm.
Yes, right. That's that's optimal is you would do that. The 2 Magic Kingdom days, a break day, and then 1 day in each of the other parks. I do not recommend park hoppers to most people. Like there's a very specific person I think a park hopper makes sense for. And usually it's that you've been to the parks before and you're staying at a park that is near to, and you're staying at a resort that is near to one of the parks. That's the combo for me that like, if you're doing that, if you've been before and you're staying close to one of the parks, it makes sense to have a park hopper. But for most people, they don't really understand how far apart everything is. And they think like, oh, I'm just going to go between the parks every day. And it's like, well, you might stress yourself out trying to make use of that. And it might be better to just focus your energy.
Yeah. I've loved staying at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, but I can't deny that if you're not going to the Animal Kingdom, you're waiting a while.
Yeah,
Just a little
that's
bit.
a
Go
trek.
anywhere.
That's a trek.
It is, but it's a gorgeous hotel.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
One of the best.
Nice grounds. Very
Definitely.
nice grounds.
All right. So here's another one. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Another frequently asked question I get is, we want to take a cruise. What cruise line should we cruise on? I get that a lot.
Not
Just like,
Carnival.
not Carnival.
What?
With the exception of some adults only clients, like I might push them towards Virgin Voyages or Celebrity. Typically, I'm recommending Royal Caribbean or Disney Cruise Line. Those are my two, top two for me. I think a lot of people agree. I don't think I'm alone in that. And so it kind of depends on your group. Oddly enough, I actually think Disney Cruise Line is better for adults only trips. That's my hot
I can
take.
see that. No, I did my honeymoon on a Disney Cruise Line and I loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if you're adults only, Disney Cruise Line, especially if you're Disney fans, obviously, but even if you're not, I think Disney offers a great adults only experience, particularly on the older ships. I don't love the adults only experience as much on the Wish or the Treasure because the adults only areas are not nearly as big and they made the bars kind of all around the ships versus in the older ships, you have that like adult zone. What do they call it? Help me there. Adult.
Lido deck.
No, well, they have that too, and it's bigger than on the other ones. But what am I thinking of? They have it's almost like a neighborhood on the ship. There's like a whole adults only area. It's like all the bars are there.
I know what you're talking about, but I've only
Like a
been
whole section of the
once.
ship. I don't think there is I think I'm just looking for a colloquial word. I don't think there's like a Disney word for it.
Lounge?
Yeah, well, it's all the lounges are like together in like a district. It's like an adult district. On the older ships, they have like all the bars and the lounges for adults and all of that. It's all like in its own little section.
Party Central.
Yes, exactly. That's what it becomes. Yeah. So I like Disney for adults only. I think they do a nice job creating spaces for adults. I also think Royal is good for adults only, but I think they actually have like fewer adults only spaces. And so that's why for families, especially families with grade school age children, I recommend Royal Caribbean. I think there is more to do as a family if you have grade school age children on a Royal Caribbean ship.
Really?
Yeah, we have a better time with our grade school age kids on Royal than we do on Disney typically because there's more for us to do to get all together.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try Royal Caribbean for sure. I just keep hearing good things about it. But yeah, to your point about the older ships on the Disney cruise, yeah, no, I totally agree. Like our honeymoon was on the Disney Wonder. And it like when we wanted, some quiet time or just a place just to chill out and have a drink, man, it was great. The setup was just, you cross these doors and all of a sudden it was like, quiet.
Yep, just adults.
Yeah, it's just adults. It's quiet. There's a bar. It's not crowded. You could just walk up and get it. It was nice. You could sit out, grab a chair out by and just watch the boat do its thing as you're cruising on the water. Yeah, it was really nice.
Well, you smooth, Kevin.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this the last time we did the trip report on our Disney cruise experience. And when we got to the Bahamas and you stepped off the boat and all the boats were docked in the same location. So there was a Carnival, there was Disney, and there was Royal Caribbean. And they were all congregating, waiting for their tour group. And you could tell the people that were for each vessel just by how they were like, all you had to do was see the family with the kids and they've got the Mickey ears on and they've got the princess. Then there was the older couples, just the husband and wife themselves. And you knew, okay, there was Royal Caribbean. And then you look and there's the guy with the neck tattoo and the jersey. And you're like, Carnival.
Dollar sign on the deck.
Yes.
Oh.
So I like Royal Caribbean for grade school aged families. And then preschool, you can't beat the kids clubs on Disney Cruise Line for preschool age kids. So I would say if your kids are age 3 to 6 or 7, Disney's still for you. So that's my hot take on cruise lines.
I like it.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes as we're doing this show.
Taking notes,
I was like, okay.
All right, my last FAQ, the one I get a lot is I want to go see Disney And we definitely want to do the Harry Potter stuff while we're there. How can we do it all? And the first thing is usually I have to help those people understand that the Harry Potter stuff is not at Disney World. It's not.
Wow.
Yep.
Not the same.
I can see
A
that.
lot of people get Universal Studios confused with Hollywood Studios, and they think that the Harry Potter stuff is at, well, what they usually say is, we want to go to Disney and we want to make sure we do Universal Studios. And then I get so confused because I think they've now told me they want to go to two separate places, but in their head, Universal Studios is Hollywood Studios.
That's right. Yeah.
And so sometimes we have conversations where we go in circles and I'm like, what? What? And then I realize, oh, you think this is all the same.
Yeah, it's all magic, isn't it? On the commercial, they all do magic.
That's what I think.
All magic look alike.
So we have to establish that it's two different places. But once we've done that, what I typically say to folks is I combine 4-day visit to Disney World. So like that one park per day. And then we also start the trip with a day or two in the parks at Universal. And that is a marathon vacation, you guys.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is like, I've had people do it. And it's a busy week, and you have to be willing to do 6 days of theme parks all out. And this is really for the type of person who's
young.
Young. You have to be young. Yep. You have to like theme parks. And it's usually also people who are like, we do not ever want to go to Orlando ever again. And our kids are begging us to do all this stuff. And so we want to just like do it once and then never go back. And I've had those people. And so that's the answer. I always say, I recommend 2 days at Universal and 4 park days at Disney World. And typically what I'll do is I'll plan it so their last day at Universal, instead of going back to their Universal hotel, they just drive to Disney and check in at Disney, go to sleep, and then wake up and do the Disney parks the next day.
Golly.
Would you recommend a Rocky style training montage that the families do before they go on the trip, where they get ready for yes,
putting in at
work.
least 10 miles a weekend.
At least.
Oh my goodness. They
On your feet. Yeah.
eating Mickey bars, going at it.
I will break
Yeah,
you.
you gotta train for that. You gotta train for that.
Harry!
Yeah, no. Crazy town.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's a
I've
lot
had
of
people
work.
do it and they enjoyed it, but
That's
it's a
nuts.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it is
enjoyed it.
nuts.
I'll say this, and people don't realize how good they have it today, because I remember going to Disney where there was no Uber,
Mm.
Yeah.
no Lyft, no nothing like that, and you had to take that damn Mir shuttle to
Yes.
get off of,
Yeah.
and that in and of itself was like a fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was like a theme park ticket right there to get from the Mir shuttle at Disney to Universal and then to get back.
Right.
And then you had to schedule the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like you just said, now you can take an Uber for like $50 for your whole
Exactly.
family.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But be careful
It is a
about
lot
your
easier.
driver.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yes.
And you had to walk
That's true.
through the snow both ways
Oh, that's right. Barefoot.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
in Orlando. Right.
Yeah, but it's a lot of pressure though. I mean, especially
Yeah,
if you got
it
like a
is.
family with like all the kids and stuff, and one wants to see one thing, somebody wants to see something else. It's
Sure.
like, yeah, how you negotiate?
Well,
all
that's
that.
another key thing. That is a tip I would like to, because my family learned that lesson very quickly, is that when you go on a big family vacation, don't be afraid to split up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be,
Yeah.
I mean, because y'all
For
are just
sure.
going to drive each other crazy.
Yeah,
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
my sister and them, they would like to hit the parks early. We like to sleep in. You know, they weren't wrong. We weren't wrong. It was just two different. And so we would meet up when we could meet up, and you had a more laissez-faire. I think a lot of people go in and it's like,
We're
you
gonna
know,
sit
We're
together.
gonna herd cattle.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
Here's the
Can't do that.
flag, and
We're going to
Everybody will
war.
be miserable.
y'all
Yeah,
will
turn
not
it
be
out.
speaking to each other at the end
Yeah.
of the vacation.
yeah, because how do you prioritize what's one person likes over another? That's
Exactly.
the thing.
For sure. I do also often talk people out of that, by the way. I just
good.
told you, like, I do like, 2 days at Universal and 4 days at Disney World. I often talk people out of it, though. Most of the time, I like start to detail what that will look and feel like. And people are like, never mind, I don't want that. Just kidding. And I'm like, yeah, no, you don't want that.
You don't want none of that.
But
That's why the best way to experience Disney is to go often, because then there's not the pressure to see everything at Disney, and you can kind of do things at your leisure.
yes, totally.
Yeah, it's like that saying goes, you can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. So,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
Disney World in and of itself has become a quite an elephant.
Yeah,
Or some
Yeah.
kind of pachyderm. And
Mhm.
so it takes, it takes maybe several little trips to maybe see finally everything.
Right. And even more so now with Epic Universe, I think Universal is going to be hard to combine with
Yeah.
Disney.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I think that's what they're going
that
for.
travel package she's talking about. That's a full on like affair.
No,
So-
I talked literally to a friend of mine the other day that had no idea I even did a Disney podcast. And he was like, so what do y'all do? Well, what was a Disney podcast entail? I was like, we talk about, best times to go to Disney, favorite rides, that kind of thing. He's like, yeah, I'm older. I don't have any kids. I want to go, but that's a lot of waiting in line, standing on my feet and everything like that. I'm like, you don't have to do all that. They have fine dining, first class resorts, great bars, cocktails that you've never tried anywhere else. And he's like, but I'm in Disney. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, and there's bars and everything. It's like, yeah. But how am I see the rides then? It's like, well, you don't have to see the rides. He's like, but I want to see the rides. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. You don't have
Then
to.
you're going to be on your feet.
Exactly. Mad at you.
Stand both ways.
Make up your mind what you want.
I want it all. I want the
stand
best.
in line for the rides and then book a spa vacation to massage your feet.
No, you gotta get the drink first, Kevin. Then you go to the ride and wait. Then you throw out the drink, get on the ride, and then boom. Then you massage.
Then you
feet
massage your
after
feet.
that.
Okay,
There you go.
yeah,
And I
good
kept
with that
telling him,
too.
I was like, dude, if you just went, I swear you and your wife would have the best time in the world. Because Disney is a great place to go for adults only.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So too. All right, should we get into some listener questions?
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Oh,
get
all
into
the
it.
time.
Here's to see
Listeners.
what they...
Save the best
They
for
got.
last.
Yeah.
All
what they
right,
got.
I'm going to use first names. All right, so this is a question from Keith and Karen.
Hey, all right.
Professor X.
Yes.
That's our guy.
And so here's what it says. My brother-in-law is coming off a cruise on May 17th and then going right to Disney World from Norwegian Cruise Terminal. What would you suggest as a 2-day itinerary for coming right off a cruise and going right to a park and then leaving Monday afternoon? And so then they give us some context on the travel party. It's going to be 6 adults, no kids. 1 has never been there. So 1 out of the 6 has never been to Disney. 1 person has never been there. 1 has only been there twice before, and the rest are seasoned veterans. So 1 never been, 1 only twice, and then 4 seasoned veterans. Thanks.
I'm guessing we didn't get the age of the person who's never been.
No, just adults.
Okay.
Drinking age. Okay.
Never been.
Yeah, and it's May, so spring. And that's a pretty good time to go. Usually middle of May.
Yep,
The
as you
schools aren't
said,
out
yep.
Yet
Mhm.
last weeks of school for the South. So a lot of students are in school because they're doing all that end of year stuff,
Mhm.
finals and things like that. So yeah, so the first thing I would say is I like for the day that you've gotten off the cruise. So your disembarkation day. If you're going right to a park, I like Epcot. Epcot doesn't really get rolling until like 11, 12 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, because
You
usually
got
you disembark
time.
early in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get time to get to Epcot before everything's really rolling. And I also like Epcot on that day because it'll be Flower and Garden Festival. And that'll be really nice and relaxing. You can go around to the booths, get food, get drinks, and just kind of have a nice eating and drinking day off of your cruise, walking around, enjoying the flowers. That's my recommendation for your first day off your cruise is Epcot.
I can see that as a good transition because, you have all the kind of adult-ish kind of amenities you'd have on a cruise boat, but it's not all-inclusive, so you have to get used to paying for each one.
Yes.
Like you did with
Yeah.
boat. So you
only
kind of make
know.
that transition to like just paying for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a bummer. That next day, I think, really depends on what the people you're with want to do. So, with one person who's never been there at all, if that person really wants to like see the castle, I would do Magic Kingdom the next day. I feel like you kind of have to. But if that person doesn't really care about Disney and is just kind of going because you guys are going, I'd find out like, are there Star Wars fans? Do people really want to do that? Me, if it were me, I'd be at Animal Kingdom. And the reason I pick Animal Kingdom is because I like the ambiance. I don't think you spend the whole day waiting in lines. I think there's a lot of other stuff to do. And it closes early. And so you'll be in bed and then you have to fly home. And it's been a long week. You've been on that cruise. You went to Epcot the day before. And so it kind of forces you to get some sleep before your travel day. So that's what I would pick if it were me. But I also understand that like you got someone who's never been, you might need to do Magic Kingdom.
You got to do
Yeah,
Magic Kingdom.
yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you got to. I mean, you got to show them Pirates. You got to show them Haunted Mansion.
Oh, the castle.
Well,
I mean, it just
it
doesn't
just-
feel like a Disney
yeah.
thing unless you've seen that castle.
But like she said, if they're like, hey, I'm just going to be going to get out the house, and yet maybe you're trying to convert them, but yeah, that's still a good way to show them the foundation of everything that they have, whether they like it or not, because they're going with you. They got no choice.
I'm curious though. Like, so Rachel, if a family calls you and says, "I want to book a 3-day trip to Disney," it's going to be me, my husband, and our 2 kids, and the kids are like 7 and 8 years old. I don't know.
Okay.
They got to skip one park. All right.
Yeah.
Which park do they skip if they've never done anything?
I would say most of the time that person chooses to skip Epcot.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. With
Less
the 7
to
and
do
8
for
the 7 and
kids.
8 year olds. And the reason
yeah.
typically what I'll say to people is a lot of people want Animal Kingdom. I know Kirk is rolling his eyes right now, and it's not just because I love Animal Kingdom, but what I'm going to say is a lot of people want, with little kids, like 7 and 8-year-old kids are young, they want the animals because they think the kids are going to be really into that. So Animal Kingdom usually isn't on the chopping block. Although if I were just like giving people advice, I probably would recommend skipping Animal Kingdom if I had to pick one to skip. If I was looking for like 3 full days at the parks, I probably would recommend skipping that. But most people with kids that age want Animal Kingdom because of the animals.
It's the easy pleasing, yeah.
Right. So then my question is, how important is Frozen? How important is Star Wars? How important is Toy Story? And so based on the answer to those questions, I figure out of Hollywood Studios and Epcot which one they should skip. The other thing too is if your 7 and 8-year-old don't like thrill rides, Hollywood Studios isn't really, there's not a lot there.
Rachel's like the forensic travel agent, man. Like she gets to the heart of what it is that your family wants.
Based upon their
stuff,
profile, their behavior. Yeah, now that's deep.
I want Coco.
Yeah.
Well,
I haven't gotten that one yet, but
we're going to
but
Disneyland or something like that.
usually I would say like when someone says, oh, my son's obsessed with Star Wars, then like, well, you just answered the question.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there's
makes
that.
Easy
Or,
peasy.
you know, like all my daughter wants to do is meet Elsa. Oh, okay. Well, then you have to go to Epcot. Like,
Yeah.
so we got to figure out, you know, what the other thing is. But yeah, usually I would say it's Epcot or Hollywood Studios people are deciding between. But if they have older kids that like thrill rides, then it's Animal Kingdom is more on the chopping block. Never Magic Kingdom. People are always going to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I could see that. You kind of have to.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next one. This is from Kyle. Kyle wants to know, what is your favorite attention to detail at Walt Disney World? This is something that thematically makes the Disney difference.
Attention to well, good
Wow.
question.
What's the Disney difference? And for me, it's staying at the resorts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's to me, like, I just think it would not be a Disney vacation for me if I wasn't staying at a Disney resort. They have a certain feel. And I think this, especially because I've stayed at the Hilton Head Resort that is outside of Walt Disney World, and it still has that, like, I can't describe it, just like a Disney feel. There's something about it. And so they're doing something at their resorts that really, for me, like, is the Disney difference. And it's not necessarily the service, although I'd like to say it was, but there's something about the way they design those resorts that just, it feels different.
Oh, agreed. 100%. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not the same vacation when you stay at the Holiday Inn. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Totally different.
Or like a couple years ago with a bunch of friends, we rented a house outside of the parks, like a big house. This was 4 families all stayed together. And I didn't even go to the Disney parks because I was like, you know what? Even though we're just 20 minutes away, it doesn't feel like a Disney vacation. So we went to Universal and Discovery Cove. But if I'm going to Disney, I got to be at those resorts.
Yeah.
Be in
no.
the bubble.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what would be my favorite attention to detail within the parks itself. And it was the only thing I can come up with off the top of my head, and I really want to think about it a little bit more, is I still remember when Lil first went to the Haunted Mansion. She had a bad reaction when you hear that scream in the stretching room,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, boom, the breaking of sounds like
Some kind of glass.
or pottery.
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah, there's that loud bang, and she kind of freaked. So the second time we went on, we asked if there was a way we could skip the stretching room. You know, like absolutely. And they bring us into this little corridor where you wait until that part of it's over, and then you rejoin them where you load onto the doom buggies.
Yeah.
That corridor was incredibly themed.
Yeah.
It I was just like, wow, they didn't even need to do this. Like, this is just, they're theming the little area, the waiting area that you get on to get into, so you don't have to wait in the stretching room. I'm like, wow, that's going above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember what was there. I think it was like boxes of like, oh, I'm
That's like it's the bypass.
It's a
hallway.
bypass,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really, really cool.
I don't want to hold up the show by trying to remember, but it was really, really cool. I was like impressed, and I started taking pictures like crazy.
Yeah. I love that.
I felt like I
love
was
that.
backstage or something.
You kind of were.
Yeah, my favorite detail thing is just the use of that the colors, go away green and bye bye blue.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's
yeah.
like it's you kind of see it everywhere, but it's like whenever you stumble upon it and you realize what it is, it's like, oh, no kidding. You know? Okay, I mean, it's obvious the structure is still there, but the fact that they took painstaking detail for not only maybe if it's a whole building to do that, but maybe like part of the building that might be seen by something else. Like you'll see tops of buildings with those colors, or maybe a strip of a building, and it's like, They didn't have to do that, but they did.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes that's a detail that I love that makes a big difference.
Exactly.
So now every time I go in, I'm like, I'm see if I can find it. It's like, no, that trash can's too green. That's not going to work.
Trash can.
It's obvious it's right there. It's not blending with anything.
But that is a phenomenal question.
Cool.
I really want to give that some thought.
You ought to do a show on it. I think that's a good show topic.
I mean, to me, I was gonna say like just the Epcot ball, just in itself. I was fascinated how that's just created, just in general, just the shapes, how it's made, and it's a circle. But I don't have that specific detail like you guys have. But
The geodesic dome.
thank you. I was not even gonna try to pronounce that.
Oh no, or geodesic sphere. Actually, not a dome. Sorry, it's a sphere.
Crazy.
Yeah. The only reason why I remember that is because when they had detailed guidebooks, they would have that in there.
Okay.
They would talk about the geodesic sphere, and I was like, it's not a true sphere; it's a geodesic sphere. Like,
something about how the rainwater runs off.
The way they shaped it.
It's insane.
But anyway, I digress. But you're right; that is a killer detail.
All right. Next question. Lisa asked, "What is the wagon policy at Walt Disney World?"
The wagon policy, like the little red wagon
policy.
type thing, or like those like.
Yeah, you guys not? No, not well, kind of. Yeah. So a lot of people like to use wagon strollers. Have you seen those?
Yes, those big ass things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. And so, like always, you've not been able to bring a wagon with you to Walt Disney World that you pull behind you. And so what we used to tell people is as long as you don't pull it behind you, if you're pushing the wagon in front of you, it's a stroller and you can bring it. Well, then everybody started bringing these wagon strollers. And so Disney updated their policy. So here is what the policy says from their website. It says, Walt Disney World makes updates from time to time, and the reduction of stroller sizes is intended to ease guest flow and reduce congestion, making the park experience more enjoyable for everyone who visits. Many strollers, including many double jogging strollers, fit within the guidelines. Stroller wagons, whether pushed or pulled, will not be permitted at any time at any theme park or water park or at indoor venues at ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex. That's the Disney policy. So they say never permitted. Now,
wow.
If you've been to a park recently, I'm sure you know that there are wagon strollers in those parks.
Yeah.
So people will get mad because they say to us, they say, hey, you told me I couldn't bring my wagon stroller. And I was there and I saw like 20 wagon strollers at one ride. And you probably did. Sometimes cast members just don't want to argue with people. And so they're
just going to do it.
Can't blame them.
Yeah.
Let it roll right in.
Yeah.
But the official policy is no wagon strollers. I have had folks ask about like a stroller as a wheelchair tag for their wagon stroller. So these are kids that like have real mobility issues and they use the stroller wagon as the kid's wheelchair, but the kid would need a wheelchair otherwise. And so they get a special tag for the stroller wagon that makes it like a wheelchair essentially, or designates it as a wheelchair. But even that they say is supposed to be a no, but I have had people have success with that. Anyway, the official policy is no wagons, guys, but I'm sure you'll go, next week and there'll be wagons there.
Man, I tell you what,
policy.
I was at New Orleans Comic Con this past weekend and there's people with stroller wagons going up and through that exhibit hall. I'm like, dude, this is too tight for that big ass of a wagon.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. Especially when you're dodging R2-D2.
An 8-foot tall Wookiee?
Yeah.
Cruise ships. People bring those things on cruise ships, and I'm like, that's taking up the entire hallway.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Those hallways are so tight.
I think wagons should be okay if they're covered, like those old school pioneer days.
Like Oregon Trail type stuff?
Like
Conestoga wagons?
Prairie wagons.
Yeah, you think so? I was going to say maybe if it had a treasure chest in the wagon, so for every person that you annoyed by pulling the wagon, you open the treasure chest and gave them some money on their vacation, right?
As long as they have wooden wheels.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you got to keep it official.
Exactly.
Yes.
Then, yes, fine.
And the parrot.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So next one. This is from Steven. Steven was trying to book 2 rooms together at Disney World. So like adjoining rooms, and was recognizing that you can't really do that online. My first question to Steven was, you do remember that you can book with me for free, right? So why are you trying to do this on your own? That was my first question.
Nice.
But then I did answer his question.
That's right. Scold him.
Let him know.
But I also...
Welcome back.
That's the fun part of this, is trying to figure out if Steven is who I think it is and Lisa is who I think it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the question was, is there a way to book 2 rooms connected? And the answer is Yes
Yeah.
and no.
Oh.
So if you have 2 adults and you want to book 2 rooms and there are only 2 adults in your party, you can do that. So, for example, I have a family of 5 that is going to Walt Disney World in February. And there's 2 parents and 3 children, but they want 2 rooms for the space because their kids, it's a lot of people to have
Yeah.
in one room.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are booking 2 rooms with 5 people. And you can't do it online, but I can call in and I can get that done for you. And so you end up having essentially like it's one reservation, but it's 2 rooms on one reservation. And when you do it that way, you are guaranteed to have adjoining rooms.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's nice. Yeah. If you have 3 adults, so you have 2 parents and a grandma, unfortunately, the answer is no. Disney will not guarantee that you have 2 rooms together. You have to book it as 2 separate rooms. But if you use a travel agent, I will call in and I will get your reservation numbers connected to each other in Disney's system. And I will request adjoining or connected rooms or just adjacent rooms. But it's a request. It's not a guarantee. So the only way to get guaranteed adjoining rooms is to just have 2 adults.
That is so interesting because
Yeah.
I remember Lee, and just to give him credit, said this to me one time, and I didn't realize this, is that you get one request. Like Disney grants you like one wish almost, right?
Mhm.
When it comes to booking, like if you wanted to request, say, the house, what do you call them? Like I'm thinking
A
longhouses,
villa?
houses, like the the
the
yeah.
bungalows?
yeah, well, not the bungalows, but like the block of like where, like if you go in the Polynesian, they call it longhouses.
Oh, yeah.
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 So all the different areas, like he would say like you could put in a request and get closer to the transportation area, or
Right.
you can go ahead and be closest to the pool, or there's a couple of different things that
Closer
you
by
can
to
request.
see the giraffe, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like the
Little
kind of
extra
places.
pixie
Yeah.
dust.
Yeah.
Little magic.
Is that quite right? I mean, is that something that they?
Yeah, I mean, you can request those things. I just always make sure to tell people that it's not a guarantee. And the other thing I tell people, so I had a client one time that requested like 4 different things. They were at the Polynesian specifically, so they wanted a balcony that wasn't, like if you have a second floor room, there's no balconies,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they wanted a balcony, so not a second floor room. They wanted a tub. Some of the showers at the Polynesian, actually at all the resorts, some of the showers are just walk-in showers. They're not tubs. So they wanted a tub. They wanted a specific longhouse location. And they also wanted to have like kind of a specific view. Basically just like they paid for a standard view, but they wanted to not look at a parking lot.
Mm.
And I understand wanting all those things. Those are all reasonable things to want. But the problem is when you put down 4 or 5 requests, Disney is going to throw them all out. Because they're going to say the odds of us being able to accommodate all of those things all at once is pretty small. So sorry, you're going to get whatever we have available. So I usually recommend to people, pick, like you said, pick one thing that's really important. And I'm going to call that in. I'm going to put it on your reservation and we'll hope for the best. But unfortunately, it is just requests.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I remember there used to be a point in time where you would go to Disney, and that was the thing about booking Animal Kingdom, is that you wanted to pay for the regular room, but you wanted that Savannah view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
There
used
are
to be
some rooms. Yep.
Yeah.
You used to be able to go in there and go to the front desk and like, can we get this? And they would hook you up, and then they stopped that all out. Like
Yeah.
at least the last couple of times I went there, they were like, did you book one? Then you're not going to get it. But I want to say like the last one, like I got a corner view.
Yeah.
Like if you leaned all the way to the right, you could see maybe a deer
Yeah.
or something.
A piece of tail.
Of course.
Right.
That's funny. I like when I booked Bay Lake, I got a water view room, but it was like maybe like a 1/16 of water view, and everything else was theme park.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Dang.
I'll take this.
Yeah, why
This is
not?
definitely less points or whatever, but
Yeah.
oh.
All right. So Brenny wants to know what non-deluxe resort is the best in your opinion, and why is it worth the stay? So I actually get this question a lot because there are so many resorts at Walt Disney World. People want to know where should they stay. They don't really know where to start. And usually what I do is I give somebody, usually I ask them what their budget is, but then most people will say like, I don't even know. I have no idea how much any of this costs. Just give us a range. And so I'll do usually one value, one moderate, then one of the deluxe resorts that's on like the lower end of deluxe pricing, and then a deluxe resort that's on the upper end of deluxe pricing. So that's usually what I quote people to get a range, is those 4. But Brenny has specifically asked us no deluxes. So moderates and values. What is the best in your opinion, and why is it worth the stay?
Really good question.
Yeah, I have a couple that I would recommend, but I'm going to just go with one of them because I think one of you guys is going to pick one of the other ones that I was going to say. So I would recommend Port Orleans French Quarter. And the reason why is because it is small. You're not like walking all over the place with both the values and the moderates. Typically, they are very, very large resorts and there's a lot of walking around. Port Orleans French Quarter is nice and compact, and so you don't feel that way. It feels a little bit more like a deluxe in that case. The rooms are getting renovated right now, so the rooms have new renovated spaces. And I think the food and beverage options also feel a little deluxe. It has a lounge. It has live music a lot.
Oh, yeah. You got Bob.
Oh, yeah. They got some nice Long Island iced teas, too, if you're ready for that.
There you
by
go.
the pool.
There you
Watch
go.
They have a
yourself.
fun pool with a water slide. So that's what I usually recommend for folks if they have a family of 4 or smaller.
Not bad.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, what do you guys have? What would you recommend?
Oh, I love the Coronado.
I knew you were gonna. That was the other one. I was like, oh, I was gonna say Coronado, but I know Danny's gonna say it.
I love yeah. That is become my new favorite resort to stay at. It really has.
Yeah, pretty
The
sure.
pool
Let me
is
go back.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, pool's amazing.
The grounds are even amazing. I mean, I love those what you call it, the long bridges that you meet up in the middle of the lake, and that was so cool.
Yeah, it's very
3
serene.
bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 bridges. That's it.
And staff was helpful, too.
Oh,
It was
very helpful.
24/7. They were always cheerful. Yeah, very cool.
The one I would say never stay at is the Pop Century. And I know
No.
people like look at me like, why? Why do you hate the Pop Century so much? It's like, it's just, I've seen it. I've walked around it. It just doesn't feel like Disney to me. I don't know what it is. Something about it just doesn't feel like Disney.
Well, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
All the big things.
Oh, look, a Rubik's Cube. Yay. Like,
That spells vacation for you, doesn't it?
Caribbean Beach.
That one was the one I was actually going to pick. Yeah, as far as one
I
of
could
them.
see that.
But it's huge.
It is. That's the problem.
That's the only thing. But I like these, and it may be just nostalgic sake because that was probably one of the first. I think when they started coming out with cheaper options for hotels, that was one of the cheaper options. They didn't have like value moderate classifications then, so that was like the whatever value moderate.
And plus, they have the
versus
Skyliner now. So
they have
that
the
makes it
Skyliner
a lot
now.
easier.
They
Yeah.
got a nice little theming. I love the music. Food's not bad. It's not far from like say Epcot or Studios or something like that. But yeah, now that's the only thing. It's just huge.
Yeah.
So to get to the Skyliner or whatever else, depending on where you are,
You
it
might
could be a
be far
trek.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got a trek to go.
I got a question for you then, Rachel. What would you consider the best talking about these value resorts? Because a lot of times kids just want to spend the day at the pool. So the value resorts, what's the best pool?
Oh, the best pool is Art of Animation.
That's what I would have thought. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I could see that. I like that. I was impressed with that little value resort.
Me too.
Yeah. The problem is it's not like oftentimes the prices are actually pretty close to the moderates
Really?
Yeah. it's
at
just-
Art of Animation because
yeah.
it's really popular.
It is.
Yeah. Well, it's
So
a
they
great
just don't
resort.
discount it as much. Yeah, it is a great resort. It's the first place we ever stayed. I loved it there. They have great pools, great theming, great for little kids.
Skyliner too.
The Skyliner's
Yep.
there. The food court's great. It felt like staying inside a Disney store. And for 90s kids like me who remember those Disney stores and going in as a little kid, it was like awesome to go to Disney World and feel like you were staying at a Disney store.
I miss those stores.
And they have the family suites over there, which are really cool as well.
Yeah, they are cool. They're just expensive.
They are.
Like this family of 5 that I was just talking to you about, they got 2 rooms.
Mhm.
They had me quote out 2 rooms at Caribbean Beach and Art of Animation suite, and 2 rooms at Caribbean Beach was cheaper.
We have a family of 3, and Eli can attest to this, that there's a point in the vacation where my wife says, you know what, we're getting a second room.
Yep.
It's just,
Yeah.
y'all are all on top of me. I need my space. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all because I like having my own space. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Being confined, especially when there's one bathroom,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes it tough.
there's just some things that, you don't need to be that close to your spouse.
Right on top. That's what
Exactly.
I was thinking of when Rachel said earlier about how you have to ask a travel agent for the adjoining room. Saying that's exactly what I'm saying. If you're the third wheel or something like that, yeah, you don't want to. You see that, especially if something's going down. Like you need that extra room, man.
It's like a cuckold.
You need
Yeah.
the extra room.
Something's
really-
going down.
When it does,
Oh, yeah.
you need that. You need the extra. You never know when something like that's going to happen again.
Not for
That's
nothing.
advantageous.
If I ate something that didn't disagree with that did not agree with my stomach,
Ooh,
I would rather be staying with him
yeah,
than stay with my wife.
yeah. We have a sign be like go time. Like all right, I'm outside.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because
Absolutely.
I might walk out of that bathroom. She's like, oh man, no.
Yeah.
That It's time to file for divorce.
Yeah. We see my boy out there on the balcony, like, oh no, what happened? She got you again. No. So yeah, that's very helpful though.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you say, it's good to know.
All right. I am looking through the list. Kirk asked the question that Danny already asked, which is if you were going on a 4-day trip but only have 3 days of tickets, what are you skipping? So we did already talk about that.
He was trying to get you to say Animal Kingdom.
I know. He said, Kirk, should you skip and why is it Animal Kingdom?
That's funny. All right, Kirk.
He knows.
Clever girl.
He knows.
Yeah.
Captain Cajun.
Harry wants to know, what is the best adult beverage at Walt Disney World? You could pick a beer and a cocktail. You don't have to split between those. Like, you can have a best beer and a best cocktail.
Beer und cocktail. Pretzel und beer.
Best drink. What you got?
Dang, that's a
drink.
tough one.
Jeez, that is a Sophie's choice.
That's
That
a
hurts.
connoisseur of drinking.
Wow.
Gosh.
It's got to be the Lapu Lapu for me. I mean, it's just that one drink that you could make it at home, but
It's not the same.
it's not the same unless you're drinking it out of a pineapple.
Ooh.
I think mine are both in Epcot. I got the avocado margarita from
Ooh.
La Cava.
That's good.
That's my
That's good.
favorite. And then the Fin du Monde at the popcorn cart in Canada is my favorite beer.
I definitely would take the. For beer, that's tough too, right? It's
It-
all
yeah.
in Epcot is where you got to go.
Hey man,
She's
there was a
got
point in
point.
time where I'll never forget our first trip. We did a wine tasting in Italy, and they gave us a wine to sip that me and my wife absolutely loved. It was called Rosa Regali, and we would just we tried to have bottles shipped home. We would call around, and all of a sudden we went to Dorniak's one day, and there's Rosa Regali just sitting on the shelf. And then you realize
Oh.
it's everywhere, and it's not as special.
Kind of ruins it.
But
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
you
it
found
does.
it was special. The origin is special.
Yeah, it was. It was special at first, but once it's plentiful, it's not as special. So yeah, beers kind of fall in that
Falls-
category for me.
I agree with that. I was gonna say the only thing for a beer just to give it some due. I do like when they have in Germany they give you the beer flight, but I don't have like a particular like beer that I crave. But just the flight, that's the only thing I could really like go to.
That's
and
the
think
only
of.
thing-
Yeah, I'm the same way.
From
It's like-
Germany specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a specific beer that I like, but I know there's a specific time when I'm going to have one.
Mm.
Like, for instance, whenever I go out of town, out of New Orleans, I always like to try different, especially if it's craft beers from in and around the area, of which Disney does. They do a lot of good job getting stuff from Miami and Tampa and all that. So I know, like, when I get the fish and chips at the UK Pavilion, I will have a beer, whatever it is. So I'll get one of those. If I get a pretzel over at Baseline Tap House, yeah, I got to get one of their beers, and I'll try whatever's there. And they usually have a different variety of it. But yeah, there's not like any beer that I could point to that I would specifically like at Disney that you can't find anywhere else. But I know I like going into Rose and Crown and getting their beers, which you can find anywhere.
Yeah.
Like Harps and Guinness and stuff like that. But for some reason, just because you're in a British pub, it just tastes really good. And it's on tap, so it was kind of neat. Cocktail, I'm kind of, I love Lapu Lapu. I'm stuck on the Banana Cabana as of late. I've been hooked on that sucker.
I have as well, but I can make the Banana Cabana at home.
I know, I can't do it. My kids
Yeah.
can't do
Your kids can.
Yeah, I've trained them to make it for me. And so they like make like their
That's
Mr.
funny.
Wizard and stuff.
I'll tell you another one, the Wasabi Bloody Mary.
Oh, the Wasabi Bloody Mary.
Wasabi Bloody Mary
Oh,
is
yeah,
something
yeah.
unique that I've not been able to crack the code on how to make.
There's just
here
too
at
much.
home.
Yeah. I do always love having the ultimate Long Island icy, but that's also for view as well.
Oh, then there's a Grand Marnier orange whatever slush
Oh, the
thing,
slush.
which I can't make at home.
What you say? Okay, Rose and what was it?
Rose and Crown at UK? Yeah.
Okay, wait, is that the one where they have? That's the fancy one. We went had the old fashioned at. Or am I thinking the wrong?
No,
spot?
you're thinking about Enchanted Rose.
Enchanted Rose. I knew they
Enchanted
was
Rose.
No,
Rose.
he's talking about the pub in
Yeah.
England.
Yeah, you
Okay,
just walk in.
gotcha.
Right next to the fish and chips cart.
Fish and chips cart.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say that the old fashioned that we had.
Oh, the seasonal old fashioned
That's
was
that's
really
pretty
good.
good. That does not disappoint.
Oh, speaking of, what's that old fashioned, Rachel, that you had trouble getting? That was on the
Oh, the
cruise?
fruitcake, old fashioned.
No, was it fruitcake or was
And,
no?
well, there was a frozen, but
Frozen one at
Frozen old
Wine
she
fashioned.
had
Bar.
one
Yeah.
at
on the
another
cruise.
place.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Okay.
Oh wow, that's a great question, man.
That
That's
is a good question.
There's so much
Tough
to choose
question.
from. Yeah, even the sake we had at that one.
Ooh, that was
That-
so good.
That was smooth.
All right,
silk.
all right.
Yeah,
we
we
could
could
go
do a whole
all
show.
day like this.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I
Pick
just-
one.
can't.
Oh, stop.
All
it.
right.
Lapu Lapu, Kevin.
I'm going Banana Cabana.
All right.
I gotta go Ultimate Long Island.
All right.
I was about to say, you
Long
should say that.
Island.
I just like
Nice.
talking about drinking. It was good.
Well, it's good, though. All right, well, there you go.
Susanna wrote, I just found out that Disney has a place in Hilton Head, South Carolina. When did they acquire it? And is it DVC like Vero Beach? Disney acquired or opened that resort in 1996. It is DVC. It is really hard to get a room there for cash if you're not using points to book it as DVC, but it is possible. So if you're interested in visiting the Hilton Head Island Resort this year, reach out and I will find when there's availability and let you know. But you do have to be pretty flexible about dates because it does book up with DVC folks.
Weren't you there? Didn't we do a trip report in Hilton Head?
I was. Yeah, Kevin, what was the episode number? We have a whole trip report episode on Hilton Head Island. We've been twice.
Yeah, actually, if you check out show number 474 of our podcast, which is not that long ago, Rachel did a whole Hilton Head Island Resort review discussion thing about their trip there. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was
very
all
informative.
kind of
We
stuff.
loved it.
Even the transportation to get from the main hotel to the beach kind of thing. She talks about all that
Yeah.
stuff.
All right. Last question from listeners. Another one from Brenny. He wants to know, what is your favorite non-Disney destination and what makes it special? So if you want to go somewhere this year, but it's not Disney, where would it be and why is it special?
And why is it Universal Studios?
And why-
Epic
For
Universe.
me, it's Royal
Yeah.
Caribbean. We're doing a cruise in February. We're going to be on the Icon of the Seas, which is one of the newest ships. People talk about the Icon class ships like it's the last cruise ship you'll ever want to go on. Like they're just so awesome. So I'm really excited to check out this new class of ships on Royal Caribbean. And we are cruising this time to the Eastern Caribbean, and I've never been there before, so I can't really speak to the Eastern Caribbean, but we did Western last year, Mexico, and I thought it was incredibly special. And for me, what made Western Caribbean super special was having excursions that gave us a sense of some of the like local life. And so I would recommend if you're going on a cruise to try to find some excursions where you feel like you're going to get a little bit of a sense of the place that you're in and what life is like for locals there. I really enjoyed that piece of our Mexican cruise last year. So,
Nice.
and it wasn't just Mexico. We also did Honduras. So a little shout out to Roatan. We had a great tour conductor that again took us through like some of the local neighborhoods and talked to us about what it's like to live there. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Like, what would be my favorite non-Disney place? And then the only thing I can think of, and this is going to happen one day. My daughter and I are willing this to happen. My wife is she does not want to do this.
Oh,
But my
no.
daughter and I are convinced we're gonna make this happen. We're going to Loch Ness. We're going to
Yes.
Scotland.
I knew
That's
it.
awesome.
We're getting on a boat and we're gonna go find that monster.
I
Do
knew
it.
it.
Me and Lily are convinced that we're going to go to
Love
Loch
it.
Ness.
Uh-huh.
And actually, for this Christmas, last Christmas, I got her a gift. I found river stones from Loch Ness. And
Oh,
I
cool.
bought
Wow.
two, and so she has one. And I have the other one. It's really cool.
I love that.
I like that, actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, that's always the adventure.
Oh,
You
yeah. If
know.
you ask Lily, if I bring her in here right now, I guarantee you that's what she said.
Loch Ness. Nice. Yeah, I'll probably end up in Hawaii or something.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I can't wait to go to
You
Hawaii.
know what
someday.
that's like.
And
Yeah,
that's-
I do. Yeah.
That's my wife's counter argument. You would seriously go freeze your ass off on a lake to watch a stick float and not go to Hawaii. That's my wife's counter argument.
Oh, that's funny.
That
I
is
like
funny.
Scotland too, though. Scotland's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want to go to Scotland. I
Yeah.
definitely
That
want
is
to
a
go.
gorgeous land. But yeah.
Ooh, Japan for me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I-
You just can't set foot in Tokyo Disneyland.
That's the
Resort.
problem.
That's
If I would have
what-
said Japan, it would.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But for me, being a comic book guy, I mean, that's like heart of manga, anime, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
There's
yeah,
so much to see and do.
a
over there.
lot to see.
A lot of
just
good food, a lot of good
culture.
drink.
Maybe I'll run across a ninja. Here to give you ninja training when you go out there. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
serious. That's not a joke. I know somebody went to Japan and was practicing with a sword. They had an instructor like, hey, who don't want to be a ninja?
Ninjas.
So Japan's for
All
me.
right.
Yeah,
I like ninjas.
yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right, that's what I got.
Well, I do have one question for Rachel. And this is something I really have struggled with myself because I'm not really big on counter service meals. I find that most of them aren't all that good, and the theming is limiting, to say the least. What are some counter service meals in Disney that you think really deliver and that people should make a point of trying?
Oh, I can give you a few in every park.
Okay.
So Magic Kingdom, I typically recommend either Columbia Harbor House. especially if you don't come from the Northeast. Like the fried seafood thing is a little bit more, and you guys too have great fried seafood. So if you're outside of our area, fried seafood is pretty good there. And that's a little bit more unique. The other place I recommend actually is Pecos Bill in Magic Kingdom. I feel like that's a pretty good one, particularly if you make your own taco bowl the way you like it. I feel like that's a nice counter service meal. I will go on record that I think the counter service at Magic Kingdom is the worst of all 4 parks. And so I started with the bottom of the barrel here.
I was going to say, both places you announced, I've tried, and they're not bad. It's just not like...
They're not bad,
Yeah.
but it's not good either. You'd be much better off going out of the park and going to Captain Cook's at the Polynesian.
I can see
If you
that.
say Cosmic Rays, we were going to fight. I'm just...
Yeah, for sure. That's fair. No, but like for my real advice would be to go to Captain Cook's at the Polynesian, but most people don't want to try to navigate over to that.
I
And
like
that's a
Captain
lot
Cook's,
to try to tell somebody to do when they've never been before.
That's a good
So,
place. Yeah.
But that would be my real advice. Anyway, we'll move on to Epcot. I feel like Epcot has so many good options. I like the Cantina de San Angel is really good.
Yes.
That's a
In
good
Epcot?
one.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
good.
fair enough.
I like the Katsura Grill up
Oh,
in
yeah.
Japan.
I like that one. The little pagoda place.
Yeah.
Not too
Do you know
bad.
where I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right behind the pagoda.
Okay.
That's a place
Yeah,
with the
You don't love
prepackaged
it?
sushi, though, right?
No, I think that. Well, I thought the prepackaged sushi was at the sushi place in front of it. Like I'm talking about the place way in the back.
Maybe
It's
I'm
like
missing this. Okay.
Up the staircase, kind of.
Yeah, you
There's
got to
like
go
a
up the little
babbling
thing.
river.
And they
It's
have like
behind-
teriyakis. Yeah.
Because I remember there was 2 rolls, and I ordered both rolls, and they were so cold, because you can tell they've been
Oh.
refrigerated.
Just hanging
that,
out,
yeah.
the rice was crunchy, almost like
Not
oh,
good.
this is not good.
I know you can get sushi there, but I most of the time it's like the teriyaki sticks.
Yeah, I
and
usually
stuff.
do the teriyakis there.
Ah,
So I like that place in Epcot. That barbecue place, the new one, is actually pretty good.
I've yet to go.
oh, the Regal Eagle.
Yes, the Regal Eagle
Regal.
Smokehouse.
Yeah.
I do come from New Hampshire though, so everybody take my barbecue taste with a grain of salt. But I
All hot dogs.
yeah, but I do like that place as well, and think that is pretty good. All right, I'm definitely going in order here. By the way, I think Magic Kingdom is the worst. I think the quick service at Epcot is not great, mostly because I don't think it has to be. They have a lot of other really good options there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and like a special shout out is the pizza window at Via Napoli when it's open is a good quick service option.
Oh yeah, I
Okay,
hear that's
okay.
good stuff.
Yeah, but it's just not open that often, so I don't usually recommend it because I don't want to get people frustrated.
Right.
Okay, so then hands down in Hollywood Studios, Docking Bay 7. I really like Docking
Okay.
Bay 7. I think it has really unique options. I really like the food over there. They have also recently redone the menu at ABC Commissary and they continue to like revise it. I feel like every time I go, it's a little bit different. And so I like those two at Hollywood Studios, ABC Commissary and Docking Bay 7.
You know, when I said theming was limited, I was thinking about ABC Commissary.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the theming there, not great.
No.
No.
But Docking Bay 7, I do remember. I can't remember what I had there, and it was very good. It was.
I had the chicken thing and it wasn't too bad. I remember that. when
Okay.
We went, yeah.
And
But-
even if you just go get a Ronto wrap and bring it into Docking Bay 7 and eat it there.
That counts.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I like the
That's a
Ronto
good
wrap.
one too. And then my last one is easy at Animal Kingdom. Satuli Canteen is
Oh yeah.
awesome. So
Hmm.
good. The bowls there can be customized however you want. And the theming is awesome. And I love it in there.
See, I am shocked because I really thought she was going to go with Harambe Market as the best.
That's a
Oh,
good one.
Mm.
Well, it
I
is
liked
good.
Harambe Market.
I like the food there. It's hard to be outside in the summer.
Oh, good point.
So I usually pick Satuli Canteen for the air conditioning and the shade.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Those are my favorite quick service places though. But I do like I think the food at Harambe is very good.
I enjoyed Harambe when we were there last.
Mhm.
No pizza fari.
Oh,
No
yeah,
pizza
no
fari.
pizza, no pizza fari.
Or that
No
barbecue
Cosmic
joint.
Rays. Get
Is
out of
the-
here with that. What's the other place that's terrible at Epcot? Sunshine Seasons. No way. Don't go
Sunshine
there.
Seasons.
Is the Boerewors sausage place still open? Because that's what I liked the last
At
time.
Harambe?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. I'll double check it. But they did get rid of your sausage there.
That's what I
At
thought we were
Harambe
looking.
Market.
Yeah. Because the last time I went, I tried to have it and it didn't exist.
Yeah. They have a beef and lamb kofta pita, which sounds awesome, actually.
It's not
Mm.
too
A shrimp
bad.
rice bowl, chicken and shrimp rice bowl,
Okay.
Caesar salad. I feel like who wants to eat Caesar salad at Animal Kingdom? Come on now.
No.
No.
Savory
animal.
Tanzanian pie. That sounds pretty awesome.
What the-
African spiced beef and lamb stuffed in naan and drizzled with spicy ketchup and served with house-made chips. Yup.
Mm.
That sounds great.
I'm down.
So I would recommend the pita or the Tanzanian pie or maybe one of the bowls but then everything else is Caesar salad. Boo.
Ugh, boo.
Do better.
See, now I stand behind Situate Canteen even more.
All right, so this is not from any particular list, but just something I found while just looking around in the web and the different groups and whatever news groups things and stuff. It's a hotel booking question, right? And I was kind of curious about this myself because I've never tried to do it, but I always hear inklings of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they changed the reservation cancellation window from 5 days out to 8 days out. If you want a full refund,
It's specifically because of lightning lanes. Because now you can book your lightning lanes a week in advance, 7 days. They don't want people making a hotel reservation using that advantage to book their lightning lanes and then canceling the hotel reservation. So that's why they moved it out to 8 days so that you can't have like a pretend hotel reservation just to get the lightning lane advantage.
Right. And that was new as of this year, right? As of New Year's Day. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's a scenario. Let's say I have a room only reservation.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say a situation's come up and I won't know. I may have to leave early or not go at all. And I may need to cancel it. I mean, for conversation, we'll say like maybe 3 to 4 days out or something like that. Could I just modify the dates of the reservation to get outside of that window so I don't lose any money, like don't lose my deposit and I can get a full refund? Is that possible?
It is possible. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if Disney, what do I want to say? I don't know if Disney would love that you do that, but
it's possible.
It is possible. Right. So and this is just genuinely like an honest thing that happened to us. We were going to go at the beginning of the summer during I think it was 2020. It might've been 2021. It was still during the pandemic. And by the time we got close, we felt like we still weren't ready to travel during the pandemic. And so we bumped it out to a later date because we just weren't ready to travel yet. And then even after we bumped it out, we didn't end up being able to go the week that I bumped it out to. And I was like, forget it. We'll just cancel it. And so we kind of did that, not intentionally, but kind of by mistake. But we would have been inside that 30-day cancellation policy with our first trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They let you do it.
And they did. Yeah. You can just reschedule, which is, no penalty there. Actually, the only penalty would be inside of the cancellation window. If you reschedule to a day that is less expensive, they sometimes will charge a $50 fee.
Damn. Okay.
But I actually can't remember the last time that actually happened to somebody because usually everything's more expensive as you move forward in time. So.
Wow, that's something I didn't even think was possible.
Yes, but it is possible. I mean, they definitely have their policies, right? But they do try to be, somewhat
nice,
flexible, understanding about situations, and they do make exceptions sometimes. But what you're saying is possible. So if you just modify out to a day in the future, and then you decide you can't make that either, you can cancel, and there is typically no penalty.
Okay, there you go. News to me. Well, yeah, it sounds like we got to the end of our list, and we got all these current questions answered, and so. Hopefully you enjoy this type of segment stuff, man. As we get more questions, man, we'll have a couple more of these out sprinkled throughout the year. So as we collect questions, if you have any questions, send them to us, and we'll answer them right here on the air. And we're about to tell you how to get in touch with us to do that. Well, y'all, we hope you enjoyed that show and we answered all of your questions that you had. And maybe that generated some other questions you want to get in touch with us, man. We'd love to hear them. We'll put them on another show and we'll answer them for you. Look, if you want to get in touch with us to do that, you can do so through the following ways. You can shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com or call or even send us a text message at 1-815-MOWEEKEND. That's right, you can text us or call us at
MOWEEKEND
669-4226.
What happened there?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
I think it's these.
You were premature.
I think it was these THC seltzers.
You know what? Think about baseball.
Yeah.
So that way you don't do it so fast. Yeah.
That's right.
That's all right, Jay Griffin.
No, thank you. Look, man, there's a couple people do things outside of the podcast. First of all, we got Eli, does awesome things with comics. I'd love to hear about them.
Yeah.
What you got, dude?
I will tell you all the time. When you got there on the internet, you can visit ivycomics.com, see everything I got right out there. Fully colored pages, 48 pages. I went to the comic convention today and I went and checked out other people's products. I was like,
Garbage.
Garbage.
Hot garbage.
Hot garbage. I was looking
Ivy
at
Comics should
people.
be dominating.
They were
the
like,
hall.
man, you the dude from Ivy Comics. You like an invisible ninja, but yet
So
you
far
make
away.
some awesome stuff like Project Geisha, Savage Body. But I'm like, that's right. I make 48 pages. The only ad for them is for the Magic Our Way podcast. That's how we do that. They were like, let me bow down to you real quick.
Boom.
And then get out the way. So yeah, that's right. So everybody's been supporting Ivory Comics. They know about the blogs and the interviews. Thank you for that. And of course, they know how it works. The link to the Magic Our Way podcast happens. So you never miss a beat. You never miss an episode. You never miss where to go to get that drink when you're trying to live your best life on your best vacation. That's how that works right there. Boom. So yeah, ivorycomics.com. Social media right there on Facebook. You can find me there, Eli H. Ivory. As long as you're a real person, pleasure to meet you. I met a lot of cool people today, but I didn't see no bots, God willing. Yeah, I do not want to greet bots. Like, although
You saw droids, but you didn't
I saw
see bots.
droids. Yeah, they walked
Droids are
away.
okay, but bots are not.
Yeah,
No.
I was worried. Because
Yeah.
when we went to the comic convention, I had to scan the QR code. I thought the bot was going to jump in my phone and tell me to go to the wrong aisle to get set up. But luckily that didn't happen. So yeah. On Facebook, Eli H. Ivory, that's where you can find me there. Of course, on Facebook, as well as the Project Geisha fan page. So please appreciate the support on that. Instagram, posting up the hearts and the likes to see what you guys got. Ivory504 is where you can find me there. And of course, on X, you can find me at Hancock10166. So yes, if you appreciate the madness, you're just bringing me the gladness. Thank you very much.
And like I said, if you want to book a vacation to the Disney parks or anywhere in the world, doesn't really matter, could be a cruise, you can do it through Rachel. Rachel, tell them how to do this.
Yes, I would be honored to help your group book any vacation, especially this time of year. This is when people are talking about what their year is going to look like. And I am really looking forward to hearing from some of our listeners about the trips that they're taking this 2025. And I would love to help you book. Some things to remember. It is 100% free, no extra cost to book your trip with me. I can help as much or as little as you'd like. So if you want me super involved because you want to send me every single question you can think of as it pops into your head, I am here for that and I'm excited about it. And if you want me to not contact you again until it's time to pay the final bill, I will do that too. No problem. So you just tell me what you want and I will be happy to deliver at no extra cost to you. The best part is that if you're a listener to this podcast, a little piece of your vacation comes back to support this podcast and this fan community just from you booking with me, even though it costs you nothing extra. So it's just a nice little bonus. And it doesn't matter how big or how small the trip is. I have plenty of people book, 2-day park tickets with me, single-day park tickets. I have people book one night at a hotel. It all comes back to help us. And so we're happy to help you book that trip. And we're honored to have your support. The best way to reach me is Rachel, RACHEL @magicourway.com. You can also find me on social media. I am at Our Family Magic. That's the letter R and the words Family Magic kind of all smooshed together. So you can private message me there or, tag me in a post, whatever is easier for you. You can also just call me or text me. I do have a phone number. My number is 978-432-WISH. Let me know that you're a listener, and I will make sure that your trip gets linked to this podcast so that it supports all the things we do here. And we thank you very much.
And those are definitely two great ways to support us. And look, if you want to elevate your support of the Magic Our Way podcast, go to patreon.com/Magic Our Way. And another option, which only costs a minute or so of your time, is to leave a rating and review in Apple Podcasts and or wherever you access our show, whether it is YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, etc. Any way in which you can support the show is deeply appreciated. We also want to thank you for being a loyal listener, and we always love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome in the Magic Our Way podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. So we say Quaharini, my name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.
All right. Nachos are on plates.
And you are. Bye!